Richard.
Softly.
Hi, Dave.
Oh.
Tony, live.
Okay, thanks, Andy. Evening, everyone, and welcome to the September meeting of Hayfield Parish Council. Can we have apologies for absence? Andy, I believe you've had 3.
Yeah, councillors Toft, Conway and Bevins.
Okay. Item 2, variations of order of business. Anyone? No?
No.
I'll take the silence as a no.
Yeah.
Has anyone got declarations of members' interest?
No.
I know the applicant regard on item 10, the planning application, the retrospective application for Ridgetop Farm. So I will be not participating in that part of the meeting, and I'll switch off for that.
And I cannot join in either because I called it in.
Right. Okay. Agenda item 4. Requests from members for dispensations on matters in which they have a disclosable pecuniary interest. Are there any?
No.
No, that's usually not. And number 5, to determine which agenda items, if any, should be taken with the public excluded. I can't see that there's any, but if anyone else. No. Okay. Under the our amended terms, there's no public speaking, but either of you anything to say as parish council?
As a borough councillor.
Sorry, as a borough councillor, I beg your pardon.
Yes, we had an informal meeting on Tuesday, the 25th of August at the village hall. Many topics were received. I am pursuing the information centre in the village because I believe this would be an asset and it would give people somewhere to call and maybe divert people from Kinder. The school traffic down there, we're having lots of complaints about the speed and the amount of cars parked down there. And is the walking bus still working? So I'm in the process of contacting the headmaster. And at Bowden Bridge car park, the bins are overflowing and people are leaving their household rubbish there. And it's getting out of hand. And I'm working with Peak Park with the view of the waste bins being removed completely. But at the meeting, I felt some of the people didn't realise that parish council money has a limit and it can't be used for everything else, as we've got to support the objects and work that needs doing in the village. But I think it was a very good informal meeting and we're waiting for all the reports to come together. So I did think it was well worth spending 2 hours in there. That's it, Tony, thanks.
Thanks. All that I would say is that I don't know whether others saw it, but there was a press release issued by the Peak Park, and they were, I think, trumpeting is not an unfair word, how many visitors there'd been to the park this summer, and they quoted some statistics. I don't think that become as a shock to any of us, but of course, when you get a substantial increase in numbers visiting, whilst that's a great thing and it's good for fitness and for people to see the park and the surrounding area, there are also all the things that's come along with it, as we've experienced issues regarding parking and litter, and I think they need to give thought to that, because in some ways I think in the village it's great to see people seeing Kinder Downfall, etc., doing the walks, but people in the village have paid the price to varying degrees. So I think the park need to think about such lights as litter bins and their car park. Okay, moving on to minutes of the previous meetings. Confirm the minutes of council meetings of 5th of July. Assuming everybody's happy with them, will someone move those minutes? Thanks.
I'll
Eva.
move them.
Should be August.
What did I say? Oh, July.
I've typoed it.
I'll propose them.
Okay. August meeting. Thanks, Eva. Seconded it, Jackie?
Yep.
Okay, all in favour? Thank you. They're passed unanimously. And to note the Finance Committee's draft minutes of August.
Can I did apologise in writing before it.
That you won't be at the finance meeting?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Okay. So with that one amendment, can
I'll propose it.
Thanks again, Eva.
Thank
And
you.
you're going to second them, Jackie?
Yeah.
Okay. Can we move those then, those of us that were there?
Yeah.
Right, they're
Yeah.
passed unanimously. Thank you. Chair's announcements. Nothing to say really, but those that's been on the parish council a few years might remember that the residents at Birch View, just on the edge of the parish's boundary, they asked to take over from the county council the wide grass verge there, and the parish council agreed to take responsibility for it. And what I'm pleased about is that, you know, sometimes people nag for things and then do nothing about it, but the people in those in that terrace have done a great job, and it looks super as you're driving in and out of the village. And it's the sort of thing that makes being a councillor worthwhile, when you can see the benefits it is to residents and them putting the work in themselves. And yeah, it's
And they were only given £50, Tony.
They were
Only
and
£50.
They keep the grass and they've planted, and they've obviously dipped into their own pockets to do it. But apart from the work, it's great to see. Okay, item 9's Clark's report. Over to you, Andy.
Thanks. Other than the written report, there's a couple of updates in other matters arising. I said I'd completed the VAT 126 return. Incredible turnaround. That money's in our bank account within a couple of days of the application. And I was also sent an email from the Borough Council stating that as a parish council, we were actually entitled to apply for small rates remuneration under COVID. Gave us our tax number. I put that application in last week, and that money is also in our bank now.
Wow.
Yeah.
And there was a query, I can't remember what the query was, the Valley Road Bridge progress. And I have emailed Paul Hudson, tentatively asking how he's doing post-COVID with his workload, etc. I haven't had a response yet, but I'm sure those of you, it is dragging on a little bit. So I'll follow that up shortly, see if I can get a reply. Any questions about anything else I've written?
Just thank you for all you do.
Good report, yes. Thank you. Yeah, very thorough report.
Thanks, Kath.
Andy, thanks very much. As you say, perhaps we could have an update in another 2 or 3 weeks about the bridge, because
It's getting a bit silly now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not your fault, but it'd be nice to move it on.
Yeah, it'd be actually nice to spend the money that's been in the account for 2 years.
Well, I'm never sure about spending money, but okay, thanks for that. Planning, this is where I'm going to
Me.
Okay, item 10, planning, to consider the application HPK 2020-0331, that's Ridgetop Farm, Ridgetop Lane, Hayfield. They're going for retrospective, oh God, I was just reading from the agenda.
Retrospective, I do apologise. It's retrospective application for new stables, hay store and associated engineering works.
Yes. Does anyone have any comments?
I just had one comment. It seems, I don't know, the retrospective planning permission for an engineering works, you know, that sounds a touch bizarre. I mean, there's probably a logical, but how can you open an engineering works without planning permission? I'm just asking, it's probably totally in order, but it just seems a little bizarre.
There's other works that's been done, not engineering, but like walls or whatever, I would imagine.
Oh, right. Okay. Right. That makes
On
sense.
your screen now, Kath, is what you're looking at. Is what is up, I assume.
There's what? Sorry.
You see on your screen now.
Yes.
There's that's what has been built.
I can't see anything.
No, I can't see
Okay.
anything.
It's not showing,
on the screen.
right?
Yeah. Sorry.
I'll try and share again, see if I can get anything up. Can you see that at all?
I can, but I can't do anything with it. It doesn't tell me anything.
Right.
It
Okay.
just lists location plan, site existing, site proposed, and you can't do anything with it.
No.
So I understood that it was stables and a barn that had been built.
Let me have a look. Yeah, I'll see if I can show you something else. Does that help you at all?
Nothing up.
You can't see anything. Oh, right.
No,
give
we've
up
not
this,
got a split screen. at the moment.
I'll give up with the share.
Right.
I think I've, oh God.
No, apologies.
It's just retrospective applications. They're coming in thick and fast, and they shouldn't be coming in. They should be done before.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mm.
You know, the way it appeared, it looks like somebody's built an engineering works and then applied for permission for it. Seems a bit of a biggie, that one. Yeah.
Did the borough councillor say it's been called in?
Yes.
Eva did, yeah.
Yes.
What does that mean, Eva?
She can't speak.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
It's going to committee. There's a development control committee that considers the application, and it's done.
If it's illegal, they can take it, you know, ask for it to be taken down.
Right. Right. Okay. Right.
So we're unhappy about the, you know, the retrospective application.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there, I mean, yeah, I'm unhappy about respect that it had gone ahead without planning. Is there any material considerations to do with the actual property, where it's placed, effects on the environment, anything like that that you wish to comment on? Other than you're unhappy that it's been built and this has had to be.
Well, that's it. It seems a bit bizarre that anybody can build and open an engineering works where without planning permission, you know.
Are we talking about an engineering works as in factory, or engineering works as in work to be done?
I'll just read the description of the proposal. There is a retrospective application for new stables, hay store and associated engineering works.
Well, that could be to do with drainage or anything like that. It isn't necessarily a factory for engineering.
Right. Okay. Okay.
I'll see if I can get you a better description of the work, although you've got an application form. Just going through it here. So it doesn't give me any more detail than that, and available with the application are plans and elevations. There's a design and access statement,
Yeah, that what Jackie says makes sense. If some engineering work has to be done in respect of the building, it just came across as they opened up an engineering works
Did rather, didn't it? Yeah.
Mm.
without any planning permission.
Right. So what is it we're going to propose then? Has anyone got,
We're unhappy about it being retrospective again.
right, okay. And I think we also support the borough councillor in calling it in.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes,
All in favour? Yeah.
yes.
That's all 4 of you voting in
Yeah.
favour.
Are you voting on that, Dave? I can't see.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Mm.
That's the end of me.
Yeah, can we call Tony back in?
I'm back.
I know you're back.
Okay. Right.
He's back.
Thanks for that. Agenda item 11. There's no other applications, are there, Andy?
No,
That's the only one. Agenda item 11 is is to do with the tree survey, which I think has been outlined before. But would you like to pick it up there, Andy?
Yes, I've covered a bit in my report. The last tree survey I can see for Valley Road Playground area seems to be back in 2012, and Councillor Wilson had drawn my attention to the need to consider commissioning another one, as had the arboreal, the tree officer for the borough, Monica. And as I said in my report, last week or the week before, a horse chestnut managed to break in half in the playground. A rather large branch landed on some swings. It wasn't large, not life-threatening large. And looking at it, we realised that tree was going to have to come out, and that pinged my memory that now is a good time to commission a survey of the trees on parish council land. So that would be the Valley Road Playground area, the Little Hayfield Clough, and probably, although not on our land, the trees adjoining the river set along the middle school field, just for a safety assessment where they're abutting our land. And what I'm asking you for is permission to seek quotations from companies to carry out those surveys. Once we have those surveys, we should be given a decent assessment of trees that need urgent work, not so urgent work, and a proper listing of what we have on our land.
And I raised,
So anybody wants to comment?
yes,
Kath,
Tony.
Kath
If
first
we-
and then Eva. Kath?
Yeah, I'd be really in favour of that, because it would help the climate change subcommittee. One of our projects is carbon offsetting. So we're hoping to plant some more trees. Part of that is planting trees, or asking for permission to plant trees. So knowing what's there and what varieties there are, that would be really useful. Fits in with our work.
So you're proposing that we do that, Kath?
Yes.
Eva?
The question I wanted to raise was, does Andy know who those trees belong to? Because if we have them surveyed and they're not ours, they need to be aware of it, don't they?
I would only survey trees that are on parish council owned land that we are responsible for, that our insurers would want us to. Any other trees in the borough are sort of outside of our remit. And it's housekeeping. Housekeeping is what I'm after.
Yeah. No, I meant the ones on the side of the old school field.
You mean by the river?
Yeah.
Personally, no, I don't know. I'd be guessing. Is it the Environment Agency or is it unregistered land? I honestly don't know.
I think
Because
it goes down to the river.
There's a lot of
Okay.
people contacting us at the moment, or me, about trees in the village, and we've got to be so careful we don't take the responsibility on of other people's property.
No, sorry, Chair, I'll come in later.
Yeah, okay. Jackie?
The work done in 2012 identified all the trees on Valley Road, so it might be useful to start with that map. although there are some trees that have been removed.
There is said map, and I've checked if this company still exists. I can't
Yeah.
find the written work that goes with it.
Oh,
I
it's,
think we've got some somewhere.
we have got some somewhere, but I haven't got it on my PC here, so can't help you just at the minute.
It's a very good start for 10. You're absolutely right. So even if this isn't the firm we use, this cuts down a lot of the work for any firm that we do use.
Quite.
And in respect of the old school field, I very much take Councillor Lawson's point. My take on those trees is where they're overhanging our land, we would have a responsibility there.
Thanks.
I think the responsibility ends at the river. It's one of those difficult ones with that, and also ash dieback in high peaks, about 15 to 20,000 trees.
Yes, again, ash dieback is something else that prompted me. Was a lot of information sent to me by the tree officer, Monica, which will be taken into account for our lands, but that information I then distributed to other community groups within Hayfield, Sustainable Hayfield, the Civic Trust, and Walkers are Welcome, to hopefully, outside of our land, provide some feedback for areas that we have no responsibility for to the borough in respect of ash dieback.
I think the thing about trees that overhang our land, as a parish council, if you are Joe Public and it's your own, you know, that's one thing. But I think as a parish council, even if they're not on our land but they overhang our land, and you know, were something to happen, straight away people will say, why didn't the parish council do something about it? So I second Kath's motion. I think it's something that we should be doing and getting prices for. And
we've got money in the meeting. We've got money in the budget for it anyway.
Yeah. So as unless anyone else has got anything to say, it's been proposed by Kath and seconded by myself. So all those in favour? That's unanimous then. Okay, so if you could go ahead with that, Andy, and hopefully they'll be back, hopefully, for the next meeting.
Yeah.
Item 12, public events. To consider cancellation of parish council run public events. You know, according to government guidelines, Andy, you'll know this better than I. Yes, you can hold public events, but there are so many caveats to it. You must do this, you must do that, you must do the other. As a parish council, I just don't see that we're in a position to, for example, run bonfire night. And I can't see that changing regarding the Christmas lights, etc. So,
Chair, I did have a communication from Councillor Bevins asking, and she's not here, but would you consider, if you decide on a cancellation, to at this point in time only cancel the bonfire night events and pend considering any Christmas events to a future parish council meeting? The chair's absolutely right. The law states that there shouldn't be any gatherings over 30 people except in certain circumstances, and one of those circumstances are events run by a public body, which we are. But the caveats and the risk assessments attached are beyond our means when you consider we only employ a part-time clerk and a part-time caretaker. And we could not, I personally would suggest, as the chair said, we couldn't get our liability down to an acceptable level with the resources we have. So although I have agendaed, in effect, what looks like all parish council run public events, the request from your colleague is, would you consider restricting that at this meeting only to bonfire night?
open it for comments. Eva?
Like the Christmas lights, I can't see it possible for the church to be used afterwards.
I think that's a fair comment. What's the views on Lisa's comments that we only do the bonfire and defer the lights until the October meeting? Has anybody got a view on that? They think it's a good idea, it's a rotten idea?
Sorry, I'm confused. Sorry.
Jackie, were you coming first and then Kath?
I was talking to Lisa last week, and we were wondering if it would be possible to decorate the street and switch lights on without having a gathering, so that you get the sort of expectation of Christmas feeling without necessarily having to have hundreds of people all together.
And that's almost a given that we would put the lights on and decorate, but it would probably sort of be without any formal setup. So, for example, neighbouring parishes, Matlock, etc., will do that, but without turning it into an event.
Right, I think that's what Lisa was suggesting, but she's not here. So she was hoping it would be mentioned at the next parish council meeting where she might be present and able to make that point.
Kath?
Sorry, I was a bit confused about bonfire night. What are we saying? That we can't hold it because you can't have a gathering with more than 30, can you?
You can as a public body, but you have an enormous set of responsibilities and risk assessments placed upon you that I'm suggesting to you as your clerk, we do not have the facilities to match. The distancing, the sanitising, the public safety, the stewarding, the separation. You've only got 2 part-time members of staff. You couldn't reduce your liability.
People are supposed to be in pens, you know, so you've got to erect pens. You know, it's just...
It's not so.
Right.
One suggestion would be, could we arrange a firework display instead of a bonfire and have the audience spaced, or is that too complicated?
We don't have staff. You've only got a part-time clerk, me, and we've got a part-time caretaker who's just had an eye operation.
Right, no.
I couldn't get him.
End of.
Eva, did you want to come in?
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's just a no-goer, as I can see it, for November.
Okay, all right. I think, you know, if the flavour is that we seem pretty much agreed that a bonfire is no-go. Do we want to take a decision now, or do we want to defer a decision on Christmas? Eva, let me ask you first.
I think it's probably going to be the same decision, but maybe we should revise it again in October.
Kathy, you happy with that?
Yes, we can make a decision tonight about bonfire night. What date is the next? Well, we can make a decision tonight about bonfire.
I think it's the 7th of October, the next meeting. Jackie,
right. Well,
Jackie,
time then,
Dave, Martin, have you got any comments?
All right, yeah, no.
I don't think we can do most things apart from the lights at Christmas, you know, which we can't have a public event with.
Okay, I'll propose then that we announce that we are unable to hold a bonfire evening, and we take a decision about Christmas lights and events at the October meeting.
I'll second that.
Thank you. All those in favour of that, please. That seems to have been passed unanimously. Thank you. Parish council meetings. I know there was a bit of a split decision last time regarding the continuation of virtual meetings and should we go to the village hall. Since then, as Andy has informed us, the village hall, I've got a maximum of 8 people that can attend meetings in the building. So it strikes me that you know, potentially we've got at least 10 people to turn up. Don't think that I don't think we're able to take a decision at this time. Has anyone got a different view to that? I'll take that as no. So shall we keep that live and put it on the agenda for next meeting?
I'll keep it going. I'll just stay in contact with the village hall, and if there's any change to legislation that would allow for us to hold a parish council meeting with elected members and the clerk, then I'll bring it back. As it stands, you couldn't do it.
Yeah,
be excluding an elected member.
Martin.
Do we need to do a 137 to help the village hall out this year?
Well, have the village hall asked for assistance?
I wouldn't have thought so yet.
Eva.
I think we've got to be very careful at this stage. There are lots of things in the village needing help, and unless they approach us, there's little we can do.
I
agree with that.
agree
Cross the bridge when we come to it. Sorry, Dave.
I agree with that one. I agree.
Can't hear you.
I agree completely with that point that you just made.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. So, okay, so the my proposal is that we continue for the time being with the virtual meetings, i.e. in October, and again, agenda it for the October meeting and see if anything changes then. Would somebody second that, please?
I'll second it.
Okay, thanks, Jackie. You're in the middle of my screen. All those in favour of that? You're the easiest. Okay, thank you. Tennis courts. Now, this was something that Mick asked to be agended, I understand. But there is, Andy did have the foresight to put something in the budget about the tennis courts. Is there anything you'd like to say about it, Andy?
Only I put I budgeted an amount to keep them tidy, up to date, etc. What Mick was asking is, would I ask, or would you give me permission to look at the cost of a total resurface, which I suspect is going to be well beyond what I put in the budget, and or new nets and line markings. So yes, I've got it in the budget, but I could go further and see what the cost is of total resurfacing. I suspect it could be totally prohibitive, in which case you need a grant. But that I think, and he's not here, was what he was asking.
Jackie.
I would imagine it would be something we would consider for next year's budget. That we would do some investigation and about costs and grants and what have you, and budget it for next year.
Kath.
Yeah, I walked past it and I was specifically looking at the, oh, is Jackie all right? I thought you'd fallen off your chair there.
No, it was my Pete.
And I've noticed there are a few potholes starting to appear, little mini holes sort of on the side towards the river. I don't actually know how dangerous they would be, if they would risk, you know, sort of breaking an ankle or something if somebody falls down them. But I agree with Jackie, it probably could wait another year. It's not too bad. It looks all a bit tired. It looks all very tatty and sad, I think, you know, the net and everything. I think it could do with a makeover.
I mean, I've got money in the budget to spruce it up a little bit, and we'll look at the costs that might, for example, remarking the lines, a new net. They may fall within what we've put on the budget, and I can explore what a total revamp would cost.
That sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Eva.
I think at this stage, if we could look into putting it in the budget next year and doing a proper job than spending money and patching it up, I feel that'd be a better, job. Okay.
Can I say that I've been down and I've walked right round the court. You wouldn't, if you were a very keen tennis player, you'd perhaps be a bit dischuffed with the surface. If you're a bit of a, you thrash a couple of balls about like me, it's more than adequate to cater for my poor standard. There are one or two weeds poking through the tarmac near the near the net, which doesn't make it look good. The lines most certainly could do with redoing, and the net doesn't look that bad to me. But you know, if we're considering doing something major next year, and I emphasise the word consider, I don't think there's any point in doing the doing the lines. I think you know what I would advocate is perhaps get the weed killer in, see how much it would cost to do complete refurb, and take a decision on whether we are going to do that or whether we're just going to have the lines done next year when you know we know what the costings are involved.
I'll second that.
Okay, so basically we're asking Andy to investigate,
Yeah.
and also any grants that are available, and perhaps the borough could help us with that, seeking grants. There does seem to be a bit of a money around at the time being. So we're all happy with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Item 15 again is another one from Mick. I don't know whether you know anything about this, Kath, but to consider a scheme to encourage tree planting.
Yes, this again comes in with the offsetting. You know, we've got about a couple of areas to cover, like energy and carbon offsetting, and Mick did think that in the absence of sort of groups being able to meet and things, he wanted to encourage as many people as possible to actually consider planting a tree of some sort in their garden, with a view to offsetting, being, you know, with on top of all the traffic that we're now getting through Hayfield, that gives even more weight to it. So I don't actually know what he had in mind, whether it was leafleting people or raising awareness about it, but that was part of our strategy from the last climate change meeting. Yeah.
Well, shall we if you excuse the pun, but shall we defer it to the next meeting and get it straight from Mick?
Yeah.
Horse's mouth and all that.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine. So that's item 15. 16, group reports. Have any of the groups met? Little Hayfield certainly hasn't. Traffic management.
Yeah, I'd like to just point out one or two things. Not directly with the main road, but if you can all see this, can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was drawn to my attention that a resident over Valley Road had put all those up, which are not correct. He purchased them off eBay for $3.50 and caused quite a lot of trouble over there. Fortunately, he's removed them and things are back to normal. Another problem we're having in the village is on Oaks Avenue. There's a turning place at the far end where the dustbin cart and the ambulance and all them turn round. I've been on to the borough and we can't put a sign up, but there's 4 residents off the main road parking the cars in the turnaround area there, which is making it very difficult for ambulances and all sorts. Those are the 2 incidents that had happened. And I just want to comment, well, nothing's changed. Hopefully people will accept that, as I have repeated so many times, we are not the only village experiencing parking problems. The traffic wardens have been today. They've ticketed cars in Kinder and they've ticketed cars in Hayfield. And I'll still continue to keep getting in touch with them and reminding them to visitors. That's all, Tony, thanks.
Kath.
I'm playing, I'm totally neutral on this, but I'm just passing on a comment from a resident today who pointed out that it was their opinion that the double yellow lines on Kinder Road had just pushed the problem back into the village. As I say, I'm totally neutral on that. And they also asked if we could consider the school playing field for parking during these times for excess. If there's nowhere else to provide any excess parking, they were wondering if we could give that another thought.
I think that would have to be an agenda item on its own, so that we could
Right.
we could post it. If you want to give that some thought, I think the danger I previously to do with the borough been asked about opening up land, and the problem with the opening up the land is you need planning permission, you need insurance in case anything happens as an accident or whatever, and you're deemed to be liable, and the parking, you know, who monitors that the parking is done correctly, if you like, you know. I'm not saying that you'd have to put out white lines, but you'd have to make sure that people don't get hemmed in, or else you'd have a war going on. So it isn't just that.
No, it's a big ask. Yeah.
We'll open a field gate, end of. You know, it's not that easy. Eva, did you have your hand up?
Yeah. They were told at the last parish council meeting this point, and also I get endless emails about it, and people are under the illusion that the field belongs to the May Queen and the money would go to them. They don't see the seriousness of opening a place like that field and all the responsibilities it holds.
Martin.
Well, we set out last year, and I think the year before, a contract for that. Anyone renting the field for parking, and it has quite a lot of stipulations in its own right. So, again, I don't think it's on.
Okay, Kath.
Yeah, so to get, I'm asked this quite a lot by residents why we're not using the old school field. So I can say the answer to that. I need an answer to them. So we can say that it's been a feasibility study has been done and it's just not feasible. End of.
Yeah. If you know, you start talking about planning and all the other things that go with, you know, who supervises it, insurance and everything. It's not just a question of opening a field gate. You know,
yeah,
I wish there were. And then of course you've got the other thing that if the weather's wet and the field's damaged, if you're charging people £2 or £3, that'll go nowhere near to repairing field drains and the like. Martin, I'll take
also,
Martin.
it's locking up. Who's going to be locking up to stop any travellers getting onto the site?
Well, that's another point. Yes. Go on, Kath. This is the very last.
Yes, I'm sorry that's to target travellers. I think the main problem, the risk would be holiday makers, passers who wanted to put their camper vans on there instead of paying to go on the campsite. So I don't think we're going to be inundated by travellers, no matter what Priti Patel says.
Oh, on that note, climate change emergency, well, climate emergency group.
There was no meeting this month, deferred till next month.
Okay, thanks. Outside bodies, are there anything allotments?
I did allude to, I'll just quickly talk on the allotments. Outstanding rent letters have gone out to get Mr. Webb and the Society in a position where they know exactly where they stand for the next year. I am currently myself just reading through all the paperwork before I call the 4 councillors to the meeting we'd asked for a couple of meetings back. And that I'm hoping maybe not this week, but next week, those councillors who were Mr. Gates, etc., Jackie, who we're going to meet, will have that, not this week, but the week after, and I'll send you out a date. I think I'm in a position to move on that now. And that's the allotments, councillor.
Thank you. educational charity, have you anything to put
Yeah,
on?
again, 3-4 days work's been put into cataloguing and sorting every item of literature, everything I've got on the education charity. And I'm now in a position, not that it's the parish council's responsibility, but I'm in a position to approach the Charities Commission and ask them one of two questions. Is it possible to reinstate as it was before it was decommissioned, or will it have to be reinstated from scratch, potential delay of 20 weeks, but with exactly the same provenance and history that it had? So I hope by the time I come back to the next meeting, I will give you a direct answer about that. All the talk of bank accounts, etc., is irrelevant, because until the charity is re-established, the banks that hold the money for that charity will not talk to anybody, because the charity does not exist. So it's a chicken and egg, and the answer is this: get the charity back online, then and only then can the banks be approached. So some progress. There was a lot of work. It wasn't me, it was my sort of invalided partner who has done all that, and I'm now in a position to move forward.
Well, whether it's you or your partner in crime, I think we owe you a big thank you, because I'm sure
thank you.
going through that lot was pretty tedious. I don't envy you. Right, the Football and Community Sports Club, is there anything to report there?
They'll be getting their bin. We have their bin, and we'll be fitting their bin imminently.
Oh, well, let's hope that keeps them happy.
Yeah.
You've nothing on that, Jackie?
Where's it going to be put?
That's the question, Martin. That's the question. Unobtrusive, but in such a place that it can be easily emptied by the parish council employee without incurring extra time and effort.
I think you should be the politician, not Village Hall. Nothing. No, it's Lisa's really, isn't it? Arden Quarry, we need to progress the meeting.
I've got rid of that. That is a typo from months ago, and I just spotted it, and you will never see that again.
Right.
Chair.
I'm rather hoping that Arden Quarry, yes, has there been smells in the last few weeks? Yes, there has, but it's been less than we've been experiencing in recent months and years. So I'm hoping with the change in their policy to taking soils and the like, that this will cease. I'm perhaps being a bit optimistic, but I'm hoping that slowly this will go away, which will be welcomed by everyone in the locality who've had the misfortune to smell that tip on warm summer days in particular. Hayfield Quarry Liaison Group, has anyone anything about that?
Sorry,
Kath?
I had my hand up just for the last
sorry.
one, the Arden Quarry. Those were among the other gossip on the park today, was the smells from Arden Quarry on the hot day, whenever that was. Monday, was it? Bank holiday Monday, I think it was, or Tuesday. But I think a lot of people are now aware that biodegradable waste won't, household waste won't be going into it anymore. It's just building. So they are aware that over time it will die down and stop. So people do seem to have made themselves cognizant of the facts around that now.
I have reported it twice, I think, in the last month to the Environment Agency. Just I report it so that it doesn't fall off their radar, to be honest.
So it's logged, yeah.
Can I just comment?
Yes, please do.
Does that include building waste like plasterboard, etc., which gives hydrogen cyanide off?
No, it doesn't include plasterboard. But what I think it does include, Martin, is that if a digger is doing ground clearance, it should substantially be soil, but there might be one or two stones or rocks or something mixed up with it, but substantially it is what they call soils. So that's all that there should be. You might also, of course, pick up some green waste, but by and large it's soils. As I'm giving you the layman's terms. There are technical definitions which I'm not familiar with, but in layman's terms, it's predominantly soils. Does that help in any way? It's not there's not plasterboards or bricks or
the outside of the flats which they've got to replace with the plastics and all that sort of stuff.
No. Won't include that. That's what they've asked for in their amended license as part of the planning application. The Hayfield quarry, is there anything on that?
We haven't been able to get people together. There's a slight availability problem.
Right.
So we're hoping possibly for November.
Okay. Let's hope so. And the community orchard project?
Nothing to. We're just going through. We've had an exchange of emails about how to get the harvest in over the lockdown. Well, I think we're going to have to defer the Hayfield cider project, but they are coming up ready for harvesting. So we're having discussions about that, about how to do it and what to do with the apples when we've got them. One suggestion was bagging some up for the food banks. So we're exchanging emails about that now.
It's a pity that cider idea was a great idea.
Yes, I know. Yes,
I'd like to have seen that myself. Never mind the school children.
Yeah. Anyway, watch this space. Should have more news next month.
Nothing else then from outside bodies? In that case, we'll move on to the finance and accounts for payments, the finance report, August 2020.
Yeah, this was presented to the finance committee, and the finance report was looking at the transactions from July. There's nothing very significant. If anyone wants, I can put it up on the screen, but I have emailed it to you. The only move I did was to move one of the insurance payments from the category insurance into payments to do the allotments, because it was insurance purely for the allotment to allow allotment spend to be monitored. And it was a fairly nondescript month, July. We received no income. We spent just shy of £5,000, of which £142 was on VAT. And our closing balance at the end of July had been £106,941.04, split between the three accounts. It will look a bit different at the next finance meeting due to the claim back on the VAT, and we should see a more balanced budget and the extra funds received from the borough. If anyone who wasn't at finance has any queries regarding that, please ask away now. And that's for noting by this meeting.
What was the return on the VAT, just for interest?
The return, 3,000, oh goodness me. No. It's either £3,320 or £3,230.
Does that include the solar project?
No, we haven't had any payments yet. The first invoice in respect of the solar farm feasibility study is expected next week. If that VAT attached to that is in excess of £1,000, then I can claim it back immediately. The rules on 126 is you either claim once a year or when your VAT claim goes over £1,000. My issue was getting a government gateway identification, which was my big struggle with HMRC. I had to write to all corners of the country before I eventually got a reference, which after 7 different clicks on the HMRC website suddenly sprung up almost like you've won the lottery, here's your gateway ID. And as you see, phenomenal. I put the claim in with the spreadsheet, and the money was in the bank within less than a week.
Brilliant.
So yes, the worry I had about the solar farm and the delays getting the VAT are now a thing of the past, now that I can see the system's working. But no, there isn't any expenditure been made yet.
Thank you.
Anyone else comments? No. Well, in that case, somebody proposed that we note finance
Those,
and accounts. Thanks, Eva. Seconded, Jackie. All in favour of no?
Yeah.
Thank you. That's unanimous. All right, and that just brings us to the date of the next meeting, which will be the.
Could you just note the payments we made in the August meeting?
I'm sorry, I thought that was encompassed in that.
No, that was in the finance report. It's just to notify you that these were the payments made at the August finance.
Okay. Yeah. Jackie's proposing them, Kath's seconding them. So
No, I wanted to ask a question.
Oh, sorry.
As well. I'm seconding them, and I want to ask Andy a question.
Please do.
We could probably do it after the meeting. You wanted me to come across and sign some invoices?
Yeah, I'm now in a position for you to do those face-to-face checks in the council offices. So after this meeting's done, I'll contact you to check when there's a convenient date. Right. Everything will be in the office again, COVID isolated. You go in independently and check through the books, but we'll arrange that before the next finance meeting so you can report on what you find there.
Okay.
And I've just received the tree survey email from Jackie, which puts me in a very strong position to talk to that company. I've got the full email from 2012.
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
Sorry.
Okay. So that's been proposed and seconded regarding the payments. All those in favour of noting them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's unanimous. So the date of the next meeting, 7th of
Correct.
October?
Yes.
All right. Well, with that, 12 minutes past, meeting's closed. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.